I can appreciate a man with trauma who can grow. I love messed up people. I do. I'm gonna try not to yap too much. Hello book besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey and I like to read just a little bit. We are officially over halfway into 2025, which is actually insane. I say that every time, but I feel like the older I get, the faster time goes, and I don't like that. But since we are over halfway into the year, I figured we could do a mid-year book tag. I love a book tag, I think they're so fun, and I saw Jamie and Larry doing these and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop on, I'm gonna do it too. I wanted to do a vlog, but I'm going to be so honest, work has been a lot lately. I just haven't had the energy to film anything in the evenings. So here we are. We're gonna do this instead. There will be vlogs coming later in the year, I promise. I love doing vlogs, but it takes, I feel like, a certain amount of energy that I just haven't had lately. I've been running on empty. But today's Friday, I'm off today. I'm feeling a little bit energized. So I figured we could do a book tag. I feel like it's a good way to reflect back on the rest of the year that we just had. So we have 13 questions to go through and I'm gonna try not to yap too much. Let's look at my Fable real quick because Goodreads for some reason has not been logging all the books I've been reading right. Sometimes it's adding them double the amount, which is so weird. According to Fable, I have read 63 books this year. My goal is 100. I set my goal to 100 every single year because I feel like that's very obtainable for me. The first question is best book you've read so far in 2025. Now, I did choose two. I couldn't just choose one. Okay, I've read so many good books. It was hard enough to pick two. For the first best book of the year that I've read so far, it is The Exorcism of Fairies by J.L. Vampa. If you know me, which hi, if you don't, I love gothic romance. Gothic romance is like my niche, my bread and butter. It is everything to me. And this is perfect. This was a 5-star read for me. Of course, it's one of my favorites. This is set in 1990s Dublin, Ireland. It's dark academia. There's old school fairies. It's very true to fairy lore, in my opinion, and I really loved it. It's also teacher-student, but it's not like weird teacher-student. It's teacher TA. She is 28 years old, and I loved that aspect of it, but Murdoch, the MMC in this book, I love a growly, grumpy professor that just falls so hard. It gets me every time. Well, a grumpy, growly man that falls so hard gets me every time. Enter my husband. He is a grumpy, growly man that fell so hard, if I do say so myself. But anyways, I digress. I really enjoyed this. This was so beautifully written. It was poetic. There wasn't a whole bunch of spice, which honestly, lately I'm finding I'm not really looking for spice. Like if it's in there, cool. If it's not, cool. I'm looking more for emotional impact and this one made me emotional. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for gothic vibes. If you want like the vibes of Nocticadia, it's not the exact same, but if you want the vibes of Nocticadia or Grave Matter, this is gonna give it to you. It is so good. Highly recommend. And then we have Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I love this freaking book so much. This book had me staring at a wall when I finished it. This was my first M.L. Wong book and I was so pleasantly surprised. There's some authors that are very intimidating. High fantasy is very intimidating to me sometimes. Sometimes I'm here for it and other times I'm like, I'm too dumb to read that. But I was in fact not. None of us are. The parallels of this book that I made to what is actually happening here today in the world, it made me very sad, but it was also a wonderful read. And the ending of this book was just, it was hopeful. This has a very unique magic system. The magic system is kind of sci-fi-esque. They use these typewriters to pull magic from a different realm. I thought that was so cool. And the FMC was so smart and she was not necessarily a good person though. There was one line in this book that really stuck with me and it was along the lines of being good, like wanting to be good isn't good enough. Are you actually changing things? Are you actually doing good deeds? What are people gonna remember you by? Because the thought does not equal the action. You know what I mean? And it just really makes you think. So I really love this. This is gonna be one that's gonna stick with me for a very long time. Highly recommend. There were so many good books this year. That was hard to narrow down to just two, but I think I did a pretty good job. The second question is best sequel you've read so far. Now I read the first and the second book both this year, but this was by far one of my favorite sequels that I've read. And it is Bloodmarked from the Legendborn Saga by Tracy Deonn. I love these books. I love them. I still haven't read Oathbound. I apologize. I know I said I was going to. I think we're figuring out that I am the world's worst about finishing series. I don't know why. I don't know why. My mood changes and I move on to something else and it takes me a while to come back, but I will circle back, okay? I also got scared because I saw people crashing out on the internet from it. The series is YA fantasy. There's romance, like a little bit of a love triangle. Picture it like this, their magic system, King Arthur and his knights and Merlin, and their souls get put down family lines. Each person is involved in this like protection group that protects humans from demons, essentially. It's academia, it's so good. This has some very important topics in it. It's beautifully written. The storyline will have you like script. I was having so much fun with this. The world really expanded in this one. I feel like we got more strength from Bree in this one, our FMC, and I loved that. There's something about reading a YA fantasy series when you're an adult and you're like, oh, I know I would have loved this when I was younger. I feel like it makes me appreciate it that much more. This was such a good sequel. Third question is new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. I have two, and one of them I'm actually planning on reading this month because it is our Fable book club pick of the month, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I heard toxic lesbian vampires, and I don't think I've added a book to cart so fast in my life. I say to cart, I bought the Kindle edition of it because I know I'm gonna want a special edition of it. I feel like I'm gonna love it. You know, you just get that 5-star feeling. I honestly don't know what it's about other than toxic lesbian vampires, so I can't tell you that much. I know it's gonna be beautifully written. The only other V.E. Schwab book that I've read is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but Bestie Emmy did an interview with V.E. Schwab. I swear, I don't know if that woman herself is like a vampire or a witch or something, but she is like the most alluring person I've ever seen. And I didn't even meet her in person. She's so well spoken. She's such an active listener. I just know I'm gonna love this book. I know I'm gonna love it. The second one that's a new release that I really want to read is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. This was one of the ones that was a Hermione fanfic, and then it got traditionally changed and traditionally published, and now it's its own story on its own. I need to read this, okay? I need to read this. I heard it's just like banter on banter on banter and tension. I'm so excited for it. The FMC is like a woman in STEM, and the MMC is an assassin or something. I just know that all my mutuals who have read it most of them have loved it, and I feel like I'm gonna love it. The fourth question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have two. Again, who would have thought? The first one is going to be the Legacy series, book 4. It is Dawn of Chaos and Fury. Look, I read the Legacy series at the end of last year. This is possible God tier. The fourth book is going to decide if it's going to go in my God tier or not. This is dark fantasy romance. If you don't like character growth, I don't think you're gonna like this series. But when I tell you, I love complex characters. I love being like, what are you doing? Like, you were so dumb at first, and then watching them grow and learn and change and all of these things. And also these books have like the perfect amount of feminine rage. I am so ready for book 4. It's about to pop off with feminine rage. It's gonna be so good. There are vampires, there's werewolves, there's dragons, there's fae, there's legacy, there's all of these different types of mythical creatures in these. If anyone was wondering, I am Team Theon. I don't care. I know he can be toxic, but he has grown. I can appreciate a man with trauma who can grow. Okay, thank you. But I'm so excited for book 4. This is the final book in the series too. So if you were thinking about picking up the Legacy series, I recommend doing it this year because it's gonna be finished. The second one that I am so excited for, it's actually, I just read in June, the first book in this series, and it is Princess of Blood by Sarah Hawley. The first book is Servant of Earth, and oh my gosh, when I say this book took me by surprise, well, kind of. Okay, Emily loved it and she said I was going to love it, so I tried it and it was a 5-star. It was my only 5-star in June. I am obsessed. This has like old school fairies. It has an FMC in it that I adore. It was fantasy romance with just the right amount of romance. It was very fantasy forward. The romance did have to be in it to make the story go on, but I feel like if you had taken out some of it, it would have been totally fine. And that is what makes a good fantasy romance, in my opinion. It had a good balance, you know what I mean? I'm so excited for book 2 because the way that book 1 ended, it was the end of a chapter. This is gonna perfectly flow into the next book, but I do feel like there are questions that I need answered and I wanna be back in that world so badly. So I'm very excited for Princess of Blood, which I think comes out in September. I'm so excited. Now, to get into a little bit more of a negative one, my biggest disappointment of the year. Okay, take this with a grain of salt because my opinion is not the end all be all. Okay, this is a very popular series. I just did not like it, and that's fine. I was actually surprised that I didn't like it based off of like me loving complex characters and character growth and all those things. But it is in fact The Lies of Lena and The Sins of Silas. I liked the first book. I will say that. I liked The Lies of Lena. The Sins of Silas is where it lost me though. I finished it because I wanted to know what happened. There was something in it that made me want to keep going, so I gave it at least 2.5 stars for that. I could not stand these characters. The amount of voice notes I sent to Emmy being like, what is she doing? Why is this doesn't make any sense. Why? Whenever I get to that point with an FMC, I feel like it's just, I'm not gonna like it anymore because we're in her head most of the time, you know? So if you don't like it there, then you're obviously not gonna like the book. But I wanted to know what happened at the end, so I finished it. I wouldn't say it's terrible. It's literally in Bestie Larry's God tier. Okay, she loves it. So I think you should try it if you want to. But I went into it with such high expectations, and that was probably the nail in the coffin for me. I wanted to love it. I wanted to love it. Now, if you do decide to pick this up, this is dark fantasy romance. Okay, book 2 is dark. So go into it knowing that. But yeah, I was very disappointed that I didn't like that. That one hurt. But it's fine. We move on. We digress. Now, the next question is your biggest surprise of the year so far. So I took this as books that I was surprised that I really enjoyed. And I could not talk about this without bringing up the Addicted Calloway series. I only grabbed Lillian Lowe's books because I feel like that was the most shocking to me. I read the first book a year ago, 2 years ago. I read the first book a long time ago, okay? And I hated it. I could not stand the characters. I think it triggered me a lot. And I didn't expect it to. I thought it was gonna be fine. That was one of my first experiences I've had with being triggered in a book, and it can either go one way or the other, and this one went this way. Like, I did not like it. But Larry convinced me to pick them back up, and when I tell you, I cried at the last book of Lillian Lowe's, which is this one. I cried in this book. If you would have told me however long ago that I read the first book that I was gonna cry at the last book of Lillian Lowe's, I would have told you you're a liar. You wouldn't have been, and I would have been just rude for telling you that, because the character growth that they had, here we are again with character growth. I love messed up people. I do, okay, because they just grow on you so much whenever they start to heal. Their character growth that they had was just phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Is Lily my favorite character in this entire series? No. No. Is Lo? No. But I love the love story that they have. They are written in the stars, meant to be. I adore them. So that was a big shock to me. Also this year, I read my first horror book. Not horror. Juniper and Thornton by Ava Reed. I've always said I am not a horror girly. I hate scary movies. Like, loathe entirely. My husband is a scary movie enthusiast. He loves them. And not very many scare him, which isn't that like a sign of a psychopath? Maybe I should go check on him. Just kidding. I did not think I was going to like the horror genre of books because I don't like scary movies. I was wrong. This is more of like a fantasy horror, so it's a little bit different, but I really enjoyed this. I rated it 3.5 stars, which I feel like that's a good rating for me. Just so y'all know, anything 3 stars and up is something I would recommend. Below, I would not. But I really liked this. This was creepy, spooky, weird. There were times where I did not know really what was happening, but I was along for the ride and I figured it out along the way. I've noticed that happens to me sometimes. I just have to go with it instead of overthinking it. Basically, it's about a witch from a spooky, creepy family, and her father is a wizard. He's super powerful and manipulative and horrible. And she's like, I want a life of my own. And her dad's like, no, but she does it anyways. And it goes from there. It's really short and it's really entertaining. And I was so shocked that I liked this. So that was a surprise to me. Favorite new author. Now, there are a lot of new authors that I've read this year that I really do enjoy, but I have already read 2 of this author's books this year, and I liked both of them. That is going to be Tia Williams. I love her writing style. She talks about very important topics while also giving you like a gut-wrenching romance that is going to tear you down and then lift you back up at the same time. And I feel like in contemporary, sometimes it's hard to feel that way. I don't know, like some contemporaries are just fun, you know, they're spicy, they're, you know, whatever. This left an impact on me. I also loved A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I just read that one last month and I really enjoyed that. This is my favorite of hers though, 7 Days in June. And now she's going to be like an auto read author for me. I need to read her backlog. I need to read more of what she's written. I really enjoy her. That's a slay for Tia. The next question is newest fictional crush. Are you surprised I have 2? The first one is going to be Ryan Shea. Ryan Shea is the perfect amount of grumpy and growly that I need to make me love an MMC. That is one thing that is like a non-negotiable for me. I need him to be a little bit mean. It's the trauma, but I need them to be a little bit mean. I feel like it just adds a little bit of a layer to him. I don't want a golden retriever. Not always. Sometimes I like a golden retriever, but most times they need to be a little bit mean. Ryan Shea is going to be one of them. This man, he is for the acts of service girlies. And I myself am an acts of service girly. So that was a no-brainer. And he's a basketball player, which I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I feel like it should. And then my second fictional crush of the year is Blake from The Wolf King and the Night Prince, that series. This man is a half werewolf shifter. when I tell you that these two books had so much tension. This slow burn, it is burning and it is killing me slowly, but also giving me so much life. I needed a slow burn like this. He's a little bit mean. He's a little bit mean, and he's tall, dark, and handsome. You need to read this series. I like the second book significantly more than I like the first one. I feel like the second one was well written. The first one was good writing. The second one was so well written. In my opinion, it had me more invested, and that could be because Blake was in it. I don't know, but this man, I love him. So those are my two fictional crushes. There's more, but those are my two favorites of the year so far. Next question is my newest favorite character. That is going to be, I mentioned her earlier, Kenna from Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. Sometimes it's so hard to find an FMC that isn't super annoying or annoys you in even the smallest ways in fantasy romance lately. It's more so in romantasy, I feel like. But when I read about Kenna, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was such a breath of fresh air. I love her. She's so intelligent. She doesn't make dumb decisions, and if she does, it helps the plot, or it's for a reason, or like it's so understandable why she made the decision she did. She's like a fish out of water in this Fae world because she comes from the human world, and she is killing it. She is so smart. She is so much smarter than all of these Fae that are around her. I adore her, and I can't wait to see what a bad bitch she becomes even more in the second book. She's witty, she's smart, she's resourceful, and she's just everything that I want in a fantasy romance FMC. A book that made me cry. Now, here's the thing about me. I don't know if I've told y'all this before. I think I have. It takes a lot to make me cry in a book. It is a trauma thing. I am working on letting myself be more emotional outwardly. I struggle with that. I have been crying more this year, so that's good. And this one was the one that made me cry the most. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. How, you may ask, did a book this short make me cry? It was so well written. I'm a sucker for the I will love you in every single lifetime trope, and this had it in spades. This was one of the contenders for favorite book of the year. I loved this book so much. It's about a couple who are reincarnated over and over and over again and love each other. The reason that they die in every lifetime is because they kill each other. It's tragic and such a good story. I feel like this is on par with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue in a different way. Like, they're not the same, but they're kind of similar. I highly recommend this book if you want a few tears. Now, not everybody cried at this book, but I did. And we're talking about me right now. I love it so much. Read it, please. Thank you. Now we're gonna shift away from the books that made me cry. Let's talk about a book that made me happy. That is going to be A Problematic Summer Romance by Ellie Hazelwood. I loved this book so much. This book made me giggle. It had some depth to it. I feel like for me to love a contemporary romance book, it has to have some depth, just like with Tia Williams. And this one did. In my opinion, this is my favorite Ellie Hazelwood book. Have I read a lot of them? No, I've read a few. But out of all the ones that I have read, this one is my favorite now. I loved this FMC. She was so in your face about her feelings. She didn't give a shit. She was just authentically herself, and that is so refreshing. I think you can tell a theme with the characters that I like. I love whenever they are true to themselves and they are outspoken and they just know what they want and they go for it. And that's exactly what our FMC in this one was. And this book just made me giggle. The relationship between the two, the tension, the banter, it made me giggle. I loved it. You should read it. It's an age gap summer romance book, and it's brother's best friend. So love that. Love that. This book made me so happy. It really gave me summer vibes. So if you're wanting like a summer by the pool read, I highly recommend this one. And the spice was good. It wasn't too much, which I really liked. We've got 2 more questions left. The most beautiful book you've gotten this year. Now, I didn't pull these down. I need to pull them down. Please hold. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about these. If y'all didn't know, by the way, that's my special edition shelf. I don't have a lot, but we're making a collection. Okay, so my favorite special editions are The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. This is her Kickstarter edition, and it is so pretty. I'm going to show y'all. It's a reversible dust jacket, but look at this cover. Ugh. And then you've got these beautiful end papers and the sprayed edges. Look at those sprayed edges. Oh, that's gorgeous. I love this book. The reversible cover is actually really, really pretty too. But I just really love the vibes of this like spooky, cartoony, I don't know, it's just giving. It's giving. Okay, I love it. So this is one of my favorite special editions. This is a dark paranormal romance. It's about a woman who poisons men and a vampire that she tries to poison, and he doesn't die because he's a vampire, and then he becomes obsessed with her and he stalks her, and it's just really funny and really good. My other favorite copy of a book that I've gotten this year, oh, I don't think you guys understand. I read Fairy Tale by Veronica Lansett 2 or 3 years ago, right? Obsessed. Immediately went into God tier. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've been looking for a special edition of it ever since that didn't cost an arm and a leg. And whenever I saw this one, look at how pretty this is. I love how just clean it looks. And then the back, oh my gosh, you guys. It says, "You would be mine under any other name, just like I would be yours." God. Eamon D'Arton is in my top 10 book boyfriends, if y'all didn't know, actually. Look at this end paper. It's so beautiful. So freaking beautiful. I love it so much. These are my 2 favorite copies of books that I've gotten this year. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. I love them. Now let me put them back. Okay, here we go. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? I have 2. Well, it's a series and then a book. One of Emily's favorite books of all time, and one that Maddie loves too, I don't know if it's in her God tier or not, is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I never picked this up. I have it, I never read it, and they are on me to read it. They said like this has a level of yearning that is unmatched. That's what I love. I love a man who yearns. So I need to read this ASAP. This is like fantasy romance with Vikings, I think. I think it's Norse mythology. I'm not exactly sure, but I know I need to read it. So that's one that I want to read by the end of the year. And then the other one is the Spark of the Everflame series by Penn Cole. I have heard so many people talking about this. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, I've heard the FMC is infuriating. I want to try it out and see if I like it for myself, because I feel like I just need to form my own opinion on it, you know? Neither of them are finished. I think only the first book is out in this series, and then I think there's maybe 1 book left in the Spark of the Everflame series. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to get to know these characters because I heard that the slow burn is like delicious in these books. Okay, so very excited for those. Those are 2 that I need to read before the end of the year. That was a lot of questions, a lot of books we chatted about. I want to know what out of all of the books that you have read this year is your absolute favorite. What is the one that you keep thinking about, that you can't stop thinking about? Not out of the month, out of the year so far. Tell me, let me know. As always, this was so much fun. I love chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you so, so much, and I will see you guys next week.